Hey everyone, welcome. In this module, we're gonna do the inventory system. I'm gonna make this as modular as possible. So we're gonna create an individual component and add that component into our player character and then call whatever functionality that we need. I'm going to right click within my content folder and create a new folder called inventory. Now within this folder, we'll need to create some general settings, such as our inventory slot that contains multiple variables, and we'll also create a data asset that holds all of the item data that we'll need that we will be using to modify later and create our inventory pickup items. I'm going to create my structures first, so within the inventory folder, I'll add a folder for structs and another for data assets. I'm going to open up my structs folder and right click and create a new blueprint structure. I'll call this S inventory slot. Within this slot, I will have 5 variables. The first will be our items ID. This will be of type name. The second will be our slots index. So I'm just going to call this index. And this will be of type integer. I'm going to create the quantity that we are picking up. This will also be an integer. Next, we'll need access to our data asset. Now, we haven't created the data asset class just yet to set the type, but we will soon. And lastly, all we need is a reference to our inventory component. So I'll call this AC inventory, and again, we did not create this just yet. So I'll save this and I'll leave it open. And back in my content drawer, I will create a new folder for my component. And within it, I will create a new blueprint class of type actor component. So as you can see, an actor component is a reusable component that can be added to any actor. In this case, it will be added to our player character and we'll access all of the data from it. So I'll select this and I'll call this AC underscore inventory. In our data assets folder now, I want to right click and head to blueprint class and search for primary data asset. We're going to be using the data asset method instead of creating a structure, because essentially how a structure works, not a structure, sorry, a data table, essentially how it works is it goes through the entire structure and finds the entry name that you're looking for and then calls the data from it. Now, what if you have an extremely large inventory system with loads of entries within your data table? Then it's not really the greatest for performance, especially for games like RPG games where you really might want to have a whole bunch of items. So since we're using the data asset method, it's rather simple. It will simply get the data asset assigned and get the data from it. It's really quick. It's a bit more set up when it comes to creating your items, but in the end result, you'll be a bit more happy with the performance of your game. So I'll call this PDA underscore inventory. Let's call it item settings. PDA underscore item settings. Alright, so back in the S inventory slot, under data asset, we'll just search for our PDA item settings. And for AC inventory, we can search for our AC inventory component. Object reference. Now you can create a soft reference to this and then load it into memory whenever necessary, but it's not necessary right now. Okay, so if you want to do that just to save a little bit on performance, you can, but I'm not going to. It's not that much, so there's nothing to worry about. So now that we have that, we have our data asset. In here, we need to add a few variables as well. So I'll add one for our item name, and this will be the name displayed in our inventory description when we hover over an item or something. We'll create another for our item, actually, let's call it max stack size. And this will be of type integer, and this will be how many items can be held within a single slot. Another will be our icons texture. Let's call it item texture. This will be of type texture 2D. Right, and let's see if I'm forgetting anything. Let's add one for our items description. This will be of type text. I'll just place this right under the name. So we have the max stack size, the item texture, name, and description. I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff, but we'll add them whenever we need them. So in our AC inventory, we can open this up now. And we can also open up our player character, because that's where it'll need to be added. The AI won't need it, so there's no need to add it to your master character. So I'll add AC inventory to our player character, and within the AC inventory component, I'll delete the event tick and I'll create a new function. This function will be called create inventory slots. I'll add a new variable called inventory size, and this will be of type integer, and this will be how many slots your inventory will contain. I'll add another for inventory slots, and this will be of type S inventory slot structure that we just created. And since we'll have multiple items, we'll need this to be an array. So the first thing we want to do is get our inventory size, and we'll do a -1 because we're going to do a for loop. Now you can do a for loop without doing the -1 check by just setting the first index to 1 and then continue your loop. So you can plug this directly, but I'll show you why in a bit. Basically, that's the way I set up this code. It's better to set the first index to be 0 and the last index to be the inventory size -1, because later when we are creating our widgets, it will be structured to suit how I structure this right here. Then I will get my inventory slots variable, and I'll search for add within the array category and connect the loop body to the add node. I'll drag off and I'll search for make as inventory slot. And there's only 2 variables that we'll need here, so I'll highlight this, and in the details panel, I will uncheck item ID, quantity, and data asset. I'll connect the index right here. And for AC inventory, since we are already here, I'm just going to get a reference to self. Just neaten this up. I can close this function now, and let's call this function on the event begin play. I'll get my event tick, so I'm overriding the event tick. And let's get the inventory slots variable, and let's just get the length so we can see if our inventory slot is being changed on begin play. I will connect this right here, so we'll check the length. Currently the length would be 0 because the inventory size is set to 0. I will give it a value of 10 by default, and I will hit play. So you can see 10 running down our screen. So you can change this value within the character blueprint, which is your player character, and you don't always need to open up the AC inventory. Let's say you're doing some work in here, want to change the size, then all you need to do is select your AC inventory component, navigate to the right, and change the value. Let's say you want 50 slots. Then now you have 50 coming down your screen. Okay, so that's how you set up the basic inventory slots. In the next episode, we're going to add the remaining variables that we'll need here, and we will create some more functionality. By the way, you can delete this event tick from here because we know it works. And before I close this video off, I will set this, well, this will say public, so I'll put it in a category called public. And for the inventory slots, this one can actually be private, and I'll place it in the category called private. And for the create inventory slots function, I'll ensure that the access specifier is set to private and placed in the private category. Great. So as I was saying, in the next video, we're going to set up a bit more functionality. So we're going to create our inventory slot itself, and then we're going to create our slot container and our main inventory display. See you in the next one, guys.